Welcome everyone to another great episode of Hotel Talk. And today I have with us Clementine Ynna Svetanov. I've been practicing how to say this with a special twang in my voice. I love it. I love the surname. Clementine I've known for quite a few years now. We're on many different clubs and associations together. And she is a neuroreflex rehabilitation specialist and really has quite a moving story. I think this is going to touch everyone listening to this. So be prepared, everyone. And I'll just welcome Clementine and let her explain, first of all, a little bit about where you're from and how your journey led you to Cyprus.
So first of all, thank you very much for having me here. Very happy to be here. Where to start? Well, I came.
Where are you from? Where were you born?
Yeah,
And tell us a bit about your childhood.
yes. So I was born in France, in a village not far from Lyon.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in France. Then I always wanted to travel. I studied different things before going into healthcare. I didn't know really what I wanted to do. I studied about archaeology also. I like the research. I wanted to be like Indiana Jones, adventure.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yes, and then I had a master in also in Eastern therapies like
Mm-hmm.
acupressure, Ayurveda, reflexology, and
Oh my goodness, you're saying it with your French accent. I'm already feeling relaxed. I'm like, oh, tell me more. Yes.
yeah. So it was very nice. I really enjoy, but I always felt like it was something missing. Like I like the caring, I
Mm-hmm.
like the to have the touch, the to be close to people. It was a very rewarding job, but I always felt like I wanted something more. And I think it's really when my son came in my life that everything changes for me. I came in Cyprus just like this, just by hazard. I wanted to travel, so I applied different destination. They told me yes. I say why not?
And you
That's my.
applied in what capacity? What role?
So at that point, I was doing more in the spa. So I
Mm-hmm.
was doing all of the treatments. Like I was doing most of the treatment actually in the spa. I was doing the facial therapy. I was doing the body therapy, reflexology, shiatsu, Thai massage, Ayurveda treatments. So all of these
And you
special.
ended up here. So where were you working at the beginning?
At the beginning in Aphrodite Hills.
I knew it. I knew there was a hotel connection. You see, Hotel Talk. Whoever comes on this show is connected with hotels. And
Yeah.
that's the point of this show. We are all connected one way or another. And everybody has a hotel story. So
Yes.
I love that. Okay, so you came to Cyprus, you're working in Aphrodite Hills. At that point, you weren't married.
No, no.
So tell us, where did you meet your husband and how did
So
that work out?
at the beginning, I met the father of my son.
Okay.
So we had Gabrielian, and everything was going well until at 2 years old, he was not able to walk. So that's when the story starting.
Mm-hmm.
I met my husband later on,
Hey,
actually in the self-development. We were doing coaching together, and that's how I met him, and we were like going in the same path.
because I've seen you guys together. I've seen you deliver talks together. You're a very strong unit. But we'll
Thank you.
get into that later because let's dive in and let's talk about your son's journey, which was really the pivotal point in your life, and
Yes.
everything's changed since. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was a challenge, but when now I see backward, and I can see that this was maybe the biggest gift in my life. So when my son was 2 years old, he was not able to walk. We went to see different specialists, and at the beginning they were telling me, "Don't worry, sometimes it takes time to walk." And he was my first child, so
Mm.
I didn't really worry. And when he was 2 years old, we decided to bring him to an orthopedist, and he sent us straight away to a neurologist. And then she told me about muscle weakness. Still, I didn't really worry. As a therapist, I just thought, okay, we'll do a little bit of physiotherapy, we'll get stronger. And it's really when I went to France that the doctor, I don't know if it was the way he looked at me, the way he was talking to me, I was like trying to find solution, like, okay, I'll come back, or maybe I can stay longer and we'll make all of the tests for him. And he just looked at me and he told me, you're going to need help. And then I realized that, it's something serious. My mom was crying. I felt like I was in a nightmare, you know.
Until then, do you think that you were in denial, or do you think that the doctors didn't really know, and maybe they were unaware, or do you think that maybe they suspected but weren't telling you, or just maybe were giving you little signals but you were blocking it?
I think there is both of it. I think they were like the part that they didn't want to give me a diagnosis. They were afraid of saying what could be. And they were also maybe me not really wanting to realize that this was something serious. I think my family were starting to make me understand that it was something serious. I understood from the way they started to behave around me. So yeah, it took me time to really hit me, understand that this was a serious case.
And your son then, so when he was around 2, he was diagnosed?
It wasn't diagnosed at that time.
Okay.
They just told me it's looked like it's a muscular dystrophy. They didn't know what kind yet. There is many different kind. It had the clear goer signs. So for those who doesn't know what is clear goer signs, it's like when a child going from the floor or squatting position to standing, he use his hands to go on his knee. So there is like a very specific way of standing. So then they realized that, it's probably have muscle weakness and muscular dystrophy. And then it was many tests. It takes a lot of time to really understand what is it. We did muscle biopsy. We did electromyogram. Electromyogram was like a trauma for him. This is another thing. It's a
The
lot of
tests in
trauma for the
themselves
children.
are quite
Yes.
traumatic.
Yes. So they send electricity to the muscle. He was only like 2.5 years. So, and told me just to distract him. So for me, it was like, when you
So
have your child, you
painful.
want to take his own pain.
Oh
And
my goodness, I don't
yes,
even like taking them
yeah,
for vaccines. I feel, sick when they have that.
yes.
So not when it's it's more. And your son, but he's talking and communicating and
Yes, so there is different types of muscular dystrophy. Some of them affect the cognitive part, but most of the time it's more the motor function. So to give an example, if we take like Duchenne, which is one of the most aggressive form, usually when they are around 10, 12 years old, they lose all the ability to walk. So they usually go into a wheelchair and even sometimes to drink from a mug because they also lose the ability to move their arm. So yes, so it's very degenerating disease, and it's very progressive, but it's affecting usually more the motor function. Yeah.
and they don't know the reason for that, do they? They don't know why a child gets that.
So it's genetic. Most of the case is genetic. It's something that the body doesn't produce. For example, in Duchenne is dystrophin, or you have sometime collagen 6. So depending what is the type of muscular dystrophy.
But did you have in your family or in the
No,
father's
no.
family? That's the point. When you say genetic, you'd say, oh,
Yes.
well, my great uncle also had. But when there's nobody that you know in your family that has that, and then.
Yes. So in my family, that nobody had it. We had like multiple sclerosis. I had also a cousin who had the grave, which is a kind of muscular dystrophy. But I hear many times, because now I'm working with families, and I hear many times that they don't have even anyone in their family, and it's just a combination, and they just carrier. And this happened. But what I discover with my research is that there is much more what we call an epigenetic factor that is entering into this problem.
And tell us more about that.
So when you have, a genetic modification, basically, it's affected by toxins. So it's like, the way I like to explain it is like you have a weakness in your body. Yeah, when you have a genetic dysfunction, you have a weakness in your body, and then there will be a toxin. Sometimes I hear it's a virus or different thing that affect the child, And then afterwards, it's starting to,
It
kicks in and affect the
hmm
condition. Yes.
You do hear that with different. I mean, I'm not a medic or a doctor, but you do hear many times, yeah, in adults and anyone that they're fine and suddenly they get a small thing or one cold or one random virus and it kicks off and suddenly, they're in hospital for 2 months with something else.
Yes.
So it's that, snowball effect,
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
it's
Yeah.
I hear this also with autism, with
hmm
autistic children. I have now a family. There is something in the history. I can hear there is something in the history. The father has children with
Mm.
autism, but then the baby was fine, and then he got a virus or something else, and then yeah, it
Yeah.
kicks in the process, and then she stopped to talk and different things.
Oh. So tell us then about your son's journey. So we know then the start, the shock that was for you. What happened then? How did you manage to pick yourself up from that and help your son?
Yeah, well, it took some time.
Mm.
For a long time, I was down. They told me not to look in the internet, but that's the first thing you do. You want to know. You want
Mm.
to know what will happen to your child. They are not telling you enough. And even if you ask question, you feel like they're not answering you. So you want to know. You make your own research. And I felt devastated when I found out about this. So it took me months to really work on myself. I remember I also separated at that time with his father because it was very complicated.
hmm
I felt he was a little bit more in denial than me,
And the
even.
pressure and strain that must put on a couple,
Yes,
anyways, yeah,
it's a lot.
immense.
It's
Mm.
a lot. So I was crying every day. I was bringing up Brian at school. I was crying in the car. And I really felt I went to the bottom. And I remember it was one lady that was working in Aphrodite Hills, actually. She was an hypnotherapist. And she offered us actually to make session before. And I was I was afraid a little bit about this, and I didn't really go into it. And she kept appearing in my life, and I really felt that I had to change something. And then one day also I saw on my computer one quote like, when you are no longer able to change a situation, you are challenged to work on yourself. And it hit me at that point. I don't know why, but I really understand that I have to work on myself. And I called her straight away. And I told her, "Listen, my name is Mira. I want to start. I want to work on myself. I know I took the right decision. I know I can move on from this, but I don't know yet how to do it. I just need help."
hmm
And she told me, "Okay, can you be here on that time?" And this is how we started the journey.
Amazing.
After one session, I felt like, wow, released.
Mm.
And after I started to program, this is where I met my husband. Uh,
All the stars aligned.
yes, to reprogram my mind. And I was starting to reprogram my mind, changing my focus, looking on the success stories. This is when everything, that's why I always tell them, have a look, reprogram your mind, write a success journal. It's so important because we have filter all the
hmm
time in our mind. And like if you want to do one day like a dancing lesson, then afterwards you keep on seeing things about dancing lesson. That's how it
Yeah,
goes, right?
so true.
So then I saw Ayurveda, another Ayurveda training. I went to this Ayurveda training, and Sachin, the instructor, was saying, when diet and sleep it's regulated, it's already 50% cured. And then it's resonate in my mind, okay, so maybe I can work on this diet.
Mm.
So I started my journey like this. And then a friend of mine called me, Mark, who is a coach and a writer, and he was writing a book about health. And he told me, hey, Clementine, I'm writing about book about health, and I found amazing information about muscular dystrophy. And he told me, are you ready to try? And if it was few months before, I would have said, no way, there's no cure. The doctor told me there's no cure. I cannot, you know. But because I've trained my mind for months now, I started to say, you make things possible. You can do it. And I say yes. And then he offered me, also to visit some of the best experts. And that's how I started to have answers for all my questions. And I started to travel the world to see all of these people.
So let's hear about that part. So you started traveling. Your son still can't walk, still can't move. He's your baby. I could cry saying it. You want to do everything you possibly can to protect this child and give him the best in the world. What did you do?
So he told me, okay, there is a specialist in Cyprus. You can go to see him. So I took an appointment. We were going every 2 weeks. We started to make some tests.
Mm-hmm.
So we do, like, for example, hair mineral analysis to find out the level of heavy metals in his body. So that was one of the information that I've learned, is that muscular dystrophy has to do with intoxication. And so when we're starting to detoxify the body,
Imagine he was so young. Yeah.
yes, yes, and that's the thing. When you started to have a look about what could be the possible, answer, when you start to have a look about everything in your life that could have caused this, you're not aware about all of the things that you've done that could have actually affected. He started to tell me, have a look about your pan because there is Teflon, and Teflon go in your system. They make even a movie about it, explaining how Teflon went in the court because of causing many cancers and everything. So he told me, pesticides. There is pesticides in your food. You need to eat organic. Many things, in the meat, you have to be careful about the meat you get also for him. So you have to after understand many things and start to search for the answer. When you do also elimination diet, many people, they just add supplements, but it's not the right things. First, you have to eliminate. You have to heal the gut. So I understood that I had to heal the gut of my son. So what are the steps, to heal the gut? So it's a big process, but it's possible, and it takes consistency. Yeah.
Absolutely. So from there, so you did the tests, you started on that journey, focusing on what he eats and his environment and what goes into his body and to do a cleanse. And then you said you were traveling a lot to meet other experts around the world.
So I went to UK also. I found another specialist, homeopath specialist, and he was doing what I've learned later on, which is called electroacupuncture by Vol. So they're able to measure the electric resistance of the body with special tools, and this give you information about the meridians, like Dr. Vol. Find out all the kind of meridians, not only the traditional Chinese meridian, but he found meridians that has to do more with the immune system. So you can find out actually pathogens in the body. You can find out about heavy metals in the body. So then we're starting also detoxification, a specific diet. And I started also to find out more information because at that point, Gabriel was starting to get a little bit better with his digestion, with his gut. But then he started to have more problem with his behavior. And that's common with muscular dystrophy. They also have neurobehavioral issues because the brain is not getting nourished.
Yeah, they're
With the right.
frustrated. I mean, it's very simple. They're frustrated.
They're frustrated. Also, there is a lot of emotion going on, and there is also the fact that they are not walking properly because many people doesn't know, but the way you walk affects your brain because you stimulate your brain when you're walking. That's why how we develop when children crawl and everything. So they got all of this also problem with the behavior. So now he was starting a little bit stronger, but then he was starting to have problem in school, attention. He was taking the food of the other children, so I had to follow a diet, but that was very hard because of the environment. But still, I wanted him to have this environment. I wanted him to grow, to.
So he was at normal, like mainstream school.
Yes.
With an assistant.
Not with an assistant.
Oh, really?
So at the beginning, he had some time a therapist that will help him for school because he had difficulties at the beginning. But then after doing the therapy that I will tell you more about, it didn't need it anymore. And now it doesn't need anymore. It doesn't need any help.
Yes. Okay, but so explain that to me because I'm just thinking about a classroom and then a child who can't walk.
So he was able to walk, but he will fall very often.
Okay, but he got to the point because of changing all of these aspects that you've just described that he actually could walk?
He could walk, but he didn't have
The
much
balance.
balance and much strength.
Okay, but I want to backtrack to that. Tell us how and when he walked and how you felt when you saw your son walk.
So at the beginning, it's a process. So when I started the detoxification, one of the first thing that I noticed, he used to go, in the stairs, he used to go down on his bottom because he didn't have the strength and he didn't have also the confidence to go down. And I remember all of his trousers being ripped because of this. And also children were looking at him, why is he doing this? So one of the things that I noticed is when he's starting to stand in the stairs, he was still holding, but he was like confident. Oh, look, mommy, now I can do this. So that was one of the steps.
And how old was he at that point?
At that point, he was around maybe 4 years old. So
and how did you feel?
I was so happy, it's like, it's a baby step, but it feels huge for
It's
us.
amazing.
Yes, it feels huge for us. And then he was continuing going in the school. He would still fall a lot and he didn't have like more than 10 minutes of walking. If we will go for a walk, after 10 minutes, he will tell me, Mommy, I pain my legs. I cannot anymore. And I realized something at that time also, is that when he was playing with other kids, he didn't think so much about his legs. He could walk longer. So this is something I worked also with him. I worked with his brain. You see, I would walk with him and I would distract him. Oh, look at this, look at that. And then if I see that he's starting to get tired, I will say, oh, let's have a seat and let's talk. And we'll sit and I will tell him, look how much you walk now. Because I wanted his mind to expand also, because we're always aware of our range of motion. I have this story many times. Children fall down and then they stop walking because they are afraid. They have to overcome the trauma also from this. I mean, I don't know how flexible you are, but I know that I cannot make a double split right now. Yeah. But if I would train my abductor and I will be able after to do it, the day after, I know I can do it. I'll need just a little bit more training, yet I can do it. And if I consistently do it, my brain will know that I can do this range of motion. So when they fall down or when they're not able to walk long time, they know that they can do this amount. So you have to also work with their mind to retrain and tell them after, look what you've done. You can do more now. And I explained him everything I was doing, how it's going to work in his body. I was telling him, now you've got everything. Now you can move longer distance. So, and he started to believe or ask him question, it's.
And so it's just incredible. So how old is your son now?
He's 12.
12. So, okay, from 4 until 12, I'm sure there's been so many parts of this journey.
Yeah.
But describe to us a little bit about.
Okay, so they were
more developments and then obviously your development within that, because your whole life and career has now been based on this.
Yes. So it started after we went to UK, and I still remember in UK when I had to carry him in his baby trolley because he wouldn't be able to walk. And imagine I was on my own, carrying the baby trolley, carrying Gabrielian, or in the plane. They will offer us to go in a wheelchair. And one time I say, okay, let's see how it is. And you go behind. So, it's like helpful.
Yeah, it's quicker. Yeah.
As soon as I see that he enjoy it, I say, never again. I say, I don't want this. I'll carry my son, but I don't want him to enjoy anything like this sitting in a wheelchair. So for me, it was like, no, I'll carry him. So I will carry.
That's so interesting. It's such a different viewpoint, but so important. Like,
yeah,
you want him to, enjoy his future.
Yes, you have to do the extra mile. There is many things you can do to make easier, but that's not going to make it easier in the long term. So I say, no, I'll do this. And it was a challenge also too, because people don't understand. They think, oh, he's not walking well. But it was terrible when he was going in the airport. He would go under, he would try to climb on the things, and I had to carry the baby trolley, the luggage, and he had this behavior issue. So he was like a little bit like ADHD, so also a little bit hyperactive. So it was a big challenge. But he started after to be able to walk longer distance. Then we didn't need the trolley anymore. That's how he started. Then because of his behavioral issue, I decided to learn the neurofacial reflex therapy because I saw a video about it, about brain gym, how you can help your child. And I said, okay, and I could understand that this will help. I knew it. Deep inside of me, I knew it that this will help. And I felt very connected from the very beginning. So I started to learn this technique. And after just 1 month of doing this technique, I was doing maybe 5 times a week on him, 5, 6 times a week. The teacher told me
On his face.
on his face. Yeah, at that time I was doing only his face. And the teacher told me, I have to talk with you. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah, it's always,
Again.
you don't want that.
Again.
Well, yeah.
Because she
You
would
never want the teachers to say, it's time to have a chat.
Yes. Because she was complaining every day.
Sorry.
Yes. Sorry. She
Yeah.
was complaining every day about him, that they cannot manage with him. He's not listening. He's not following the instruction. So I was like, what is going to say now? And she told me, I don't know what you've done, but it's working. Gabriel can sit. He makes some effort now.
Wow.
So I was so happy, something new. Like,
Yeah.
because,
trial and error as well. You see what works.
yes. And I think people sometimes don't understand what is ADHD or ADD or, autistic children. It's very challenging. I mean, she was telling me, oh, talk to him, or I try everything. I try to talk to him. But when you have a child with ADHD, it's a question of brain receptors that they are not working well. So you can keep on trying to talk with them. It's not going to work that way.
And do you think his ADHD is specifically related to his muscular dystrophy problems, or do you think that that's something separate?
I believe it's both. I had also kind of ADHD when I was small. They were not
Of
diagnosed
course,
at that
yeah,
time.
no one. It was just, people were just different or
Yes.
naughty or, they didn't have,
Yes. So when they start to talk to me and
explain the symptoms.
I was
Like,
like,
that's
oh,
me.
that was
I
me.
have that. Yeah.
Yes. And so then there is this part. I think also his father had ADHD, was
Yeah.
not able to focus at all when he was small. And then there is also muscular dystrophy that affect the development of the brain. So all of this was a combination.
Yeah.
And so this was one of the steps. And then as I starting to study about the neuroreflex therapy, I loved it. I really wanted to be an instructor. And then I found out a video also showing how you can rehabilitate children with brain damage or with muscular dystrophy. I found 3 children rehabilitated by muscular dystrophy with this technique, which was called the Tamprana. So it's more advanced when we're working more on the brain and working not only on the face, working on the hands, on the feet. We're working with brain gym. And there is also more about the detoxification. So I said, oh, this is what I want to do. So now I had my baby. She was only 6 months, and I decided to travel to Oman.
And your son was how old when you had your daughter?
So my son was 5.
5.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like I say, oh, I have to go there. I don't know.
And just to get back to the emotions, when you had your daughter, were you ever worried that that would be the same again for your daughter, or was your mindset so positive? How did, for other people listening who are in similar situations, how did you cope with that part?
I don't think I ever thought about it. To tell
Yeah.
you the truth, I don't think I ever thought about this kind of thing. I know my husband thought about it. I didn't. Also, girl usually doesn't usually get this kind of.
So in your heart of hearts, your gut instinct was, it's just not even possible. My daughter's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah, amazing.
It's I knew I was in this. It's the vibe you are also. I was, and I hear this sometimes from family. With my son, I was not, before this, I was not in a very good vibe also. I had some depression during the pregnancy and different thing. So I think, I completely changed my mindset at that time.
Amazing. So fast forward 12 years from when your son was born, and how is he now?
So now he's walking, he's running, he's playing soccer.
I mean,
Yes.
And what do the doctors say? Are they amazed?
They're like, oh, he's in very good condition,
Yeah.
but they don't really dare to say anything.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I don't go so much to the doctor. We go like once a year to see, like they just want to see him how it's going, the neurology. But last time when they saw him, they say we don't need to see him so often. So like just once a year to see how he's developing.
Oh my goodness. It's just so amazing. It's such a moving story and so inspirational just to see the power of the mind, research, positivity, and anything is possible.
Yes.
So you've taken your personal experience and you've done so much with that. You're a neuroreflex specialist. Your mission is to help others in similar situations. You've written a book. Let's go into a bit of that.
So what do you want to know about that?
Well, I want to know everything. So, okay, you've described already that how your son's journey developed and unraveled, and you started to learn more. So, at what point did you think I can help other people, and I want to do that?
So this was the hard part also for me. So Mark, I talked about him before, the person who helped me at the beginning. So he's a coach. So he was coaching me also along the process. And he told me, Clementine, I think you should write a book about what you're doing. I was like, I didn't really want it at the beginning. He told me, don't worry, you've got the story. You already done. You have
done it.
everything.
Yeah,
And
you've done the mileage.
it was challenging. I was writing just 15 minutes a day because otherwise my mind would say, oh, this is not good. I was judging myself. And it told me, you've got so much knowledge now. You've got to share this. And I was thinking, me inspiring others, I didn't feel like I would like to do this. But then I realized that it was selfish to hold on to this. So I say I'll start to share, and I started to share it in the book. And what's happened is when I started to write my book, because the title of my book before was like Healing from Muscular Dystrophy, how I improved the health and the muscle strength and health of my son using 3 simple methods. So when I started this journey, because my intention was to heal my son, every step was bringing me closer to it.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was the author again of my life. I was writing my story. And this is how it's so powerful when you start to write your intention and just move on towards it.
And in the end, the title is Me, My Son, and Muscular Dystrophy.
Yes. So it's challenging to publish something about healing and muscular dystrophy. Yeah.
So well, it's a lovely book. Where can somebody get it? Oh, thank you. I just saw you signed it for me. Thank you.
So they can get it on Amazon.
Okay,
Yes.
amazing. So guys, if you're
It's
listening,
French and in English.
amazing. So you published your book, and you're sharing that, and I'm sure that will be received by so many so well and is so needed. What's your mission? What's your ultimate dream?
My ultimate dream will be to have like families coming here in Cyprus for retreats. And, we teach them therapies. I have also with me some other professional that will think maybe about the breathing technique, different things, and ready to see these children like thrive, and the family getting better. And my son also keep on moving forwards. And yeah, that's my dream, being able to travel and share more of this message of hope, because I know how it feels when they tell you there's no cure and you feel stuck. You don't know where to go.
But look at the survival instincts kicked in, and look where you were and where you've come.
Yeah.
So I hope you can reach as many people as possible, because there's many people out there in the world, maybe not even facing muscular dystrophy. They could be facing numerous challenges, and everybody does. And to hear stories of survival really are crucial. And I think it's important everybody shares it.
Yeah.
So definitely. You mentioned before, okay, your husband. How important have friends been in the journey, friends, family, that support network?
Friends, my husband or friends?
I'd say friends. I'm sure your husband, he met you, and I've seen you guys together. I know he's a rock for you. What about friends and people around you? supporting you? How important has that been?
Yeah, I think I started to have also other friends
Mm.
at that point.
Because
My
yeah, realize who was there just for fun and who was really going to be
Yeah,
next
and
to
I
you.
think I also distanced myself,
Mm.
because I didn't. Some people will feel pity for you,
Mm.
and I didn't want this. I didn't want this atmosphere. Then with my family, I also had challenges because they didn't believe the same thing like me.
Mm.
They thought at the beginning I was crazy.
Yeah.
All of my family, they are in medical system.
Yeah.
My sister is a nurse. I have another sister. She's an educational teacher for special needs kids. So they follow the traditional model.
Yeah.
And when I was saying what I was doing, the diet, they were like, "You crazy? The doctor told you
Yeah. They
like
must have just
this."
brought you disillusioned and yeah,
Yeah,
in
at the
denial.
beginning they were afraid. They just thought I maybe make mistakes. But what's happened when they started to see that I have results? Now they supporting me,
Mm.
and now they asking me advices also.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
share 2 days ago. I share with my sister. She's a nurse, and I show her. Um, so I have a patient. He's 41 years old with SMA type 3, one kind of muscular dystrophy, and he was able to walk, but with very much difficulty. And he had pain in his right leg. It was very weak
Mm.
muscles there. And I sent her the video before and after, and she was like, "Oh wow, how he can walk before and how he's walking now. The color of his legs also, like before it was so white, his leg, no blood circulation, no good blood circulation. He doesn't have any more numbness or pain in his right leg. Many changes in only 2 months of treatment,
Amazing.
and he started to
Amazing.
grow muscles even on the weak leg."
Amazing. Did you have a mentor at all? I mean, you've mentioned your friend Mark, but I'm sure there must have been so many people along the way who
Yes,
cheered you on and
I had many mentors, not
mhm.
only in self development or mindsets. Mira, the lady that I was saying, the
Mm.
hypnotherapist, she followed me also quite a long journey. All of the doctor, the alternative doctor that I have met, Dr. Raj supported me in
Mm.
UK. Lone Sorensen, my mentor today, was when I'm doing some prana and neuroreflex therapy. She supported me also on this journey. Now she's
Mm.
also going to promote the course that I'm doing about
Yeah.
muscular dystrophy. Peter Sage also, he came here in Cyprus. He's supporting me on this journey. So I had many
Many.
mentors.
That's
Yes.
so lovely. And what's your favorite quote? I'm sure along the way you've read so many that have resonated with you, but if you
Yeah.
had a favorite quote, what would it be?
So I like very much the one I told you. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change
Mm.
ourselves. And one of the things that I heard that really also helped me during my journey is one lady told me one day, you're a very strong woman. And I was like, I don't think so. And she was like, the universe never gives to anyone anything it can handle.
Mm.
So for me, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I had this picture of the Maasai tribe. The Maasai tribe, they celebrate every time they're facing challenge. Why? Because they know that they are going to grow in this process. They have the faith in the process. They
Mm.
know that. And
Will make them stronger.
this is what I like, I think.
Mm.
To have a different perspective, to see the gift always in the challenge.
Mm.
And I think when I went to Oman, this is when I started to change this, because I saw these children with brain damage after able to talk or to walk. And so it's like shifting all my mind, like it's
Mm.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So closing tradition,
Hmm.
crystal bowl. Now our staff put these in, so I don't know what question you're going to get. And oh, this is a nice one. So this is from our weddings coordinator, Natalie Mealing. Thank you. What is your favorite movie and why?
Gladiator.
Gladiator, I love it. Ah,
Why?
Gladiator is a good one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years. I like that one. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's moving.
Yeah.
It's a story of a warrior, someone who, fight for his family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, it's so inspiring. I love the music also. I've been there in Rome.
You can identify with the gladiator, that's for sure.
I don't know, but
I love it. Thank you so much, Clementine. It's been a pleasure. I think I thank you for sharing your journey. And I think I won't say hundreds, I think there's thousands of people, if not more, out there who will benefit from hearing your journey, your positivity, overcoming struggles, your mindset. I think everyone has something to learn from this. And I think even more specifically, people going through similar, you will give them so many rays of hope, so much positivity and comfort knowing where you were and where you've come to. So thank you so much for being on this podcast and sharing it.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share this story. I really want to reach many people as possible to tell them that it's possible.
And also, everybody, if you like this episode, do share it around, or any episode on Hotel Talk for that matter, because whoever gets the most downloads yearly, we check it every year on our anniversaries, then we donate €1,000 to a charity of their choice. So if this is your favorite podcast on Hotel Talk, the episode, share it to other people. Let's get hundreds of people listening to this, if not thousands, and then Clementine gets to choose a charity and get €1,000. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Clementine.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you may realize. If you are planning on coming to visit us at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, feel free to email our reservations team quoting Hotel Talk and receive an exclusive offer just for you. We look forward to seeing you soon, hearing your feedback about our show, and producing many, many more interesting episodes just for you, our listener, and our valued guest in mind. Thank you so much, and take care.